Donny Osmond married his wife in secret in 1978. He hid it for 4 years because he knew what would happen. And he was right. The day fans found out, they burned his records in the streets. His wife received death threats in the mail. His own father told him his career was over. And it was. Donny didn't chart again for 10 years. But the hate mail wasn't the worst part. What happened to her during those years is something Donny still refuses to talk about. Today, after 46 years together, she stays hidden. And now we finally know why. Donny Osmond was born on December 9, 1957. The seventh of 9 children in Ogden, Utah. His father, George, wore many hats to keep the family going. He worked as a postmaster, sold insurance, dabbled in real estate, and helped run a dairy farm with his brothers. His mother, Olive, managed the house and the kids. Both were committed Mormons, and their faith shaped everything they did. They had met during the war at Defense Depot, Ogden, and married in 1944. Their religious values emphasized discipline, unity, and faith, and these beliefs would hold the family together during both their rise to fame and their later financial problems. Music was always playing in the house. From the time he could walk, Donny watched and mimicked his older brothers as they rehearsed barber hop harmonies. His mother quickly noticed that her youngest sons, especially Donny, could match pitch effortlessly, even as toddlers. Olive came up with a way to teach all the kids music without spending much money. Each child would learn one instrument and then teach it to the others. That way, musical knowledge spread across the family like a shared language. Donny's talent stood out early. His voice was clear, sharp, and full of life. His mother, described by some as a sharp business mind, encouraged him to take the stage alongside his brothers when he was just 5. But the musical journey of the Osmond family actually started with difficulty. The first 2 sons, Verl and Tom, were born with severe hearing loss. Doctors told the parents to stop having children and even suggested placing the boys in an institution. But George and Olive refused. They kept going, and the next 7 children were born with normal hearing. The brothers initially started singing to raise money for their older brother's hearing aids. What began as a necessity soon turned into a career. Despite their disabilities, Verl and Tom later served as the first deaf missionaries for the Mormon Church, inspiring many. Life wasn't easy in those early days. Money was tight, and the family had to stretch every dollar. George worked multiple jobs, and Olive homeschooled all 9 children through correspondence courses. They didn't have many luxuries, but they had a system. The kids taught each other music to avoid costly lessons, and everyone helped keep the household running. That strong work ethic, born from poverty, helped them later on when they hit a financial crisis in the late 1970s and had to tour aggressively to pay off their debts. Donny made his first professional TV appearance the day after his 6th birthday, performing You Are My Sunshine on The Andy Williams Show. His hip-swinging version of the song made the audience go wild. The family had recently moved from Ogden to Los Angeles after the older brothers impressed Walt Disney during a Disneyland performance and landed a contract for weekly appearances on the show. Marie and Jimmy Osmond would later follow Donny onto the screen, turning the whole family into national figures. In reality, Donny had already auditioned a year earlier in 1962. When he was 5, he showed up with a small guitar and sang Elvis Is Everybody's Favorite, and everyone in the room could see something special. He wasn't nervous, even though he'd never had professional training. They started earning $750 per episode, a huge help for a family of 9 kids. His older brothers had been performing at Disneyland since 1959. But Donny brought a spark that changed everything. The show reached 30 million viewers every Saturday night, launching the Osmonds into national fame almost overnight. In 1965, the Osmond brothers signed with MGM Records, but their barber hop sound wasn't what teenagers wanted to hear. Producer Mike Curb urged them to shift toward pop music. Donny's high-pitched voice became their secret weapon. Their first single didn't do well, peaking at only number 96, but they didn't give up. Donny recorded vocals at 3 a.m. because studio time was cheaper then and his father wanted to save money. Sometimes he fell asleep on the studio floor between takes. MGM still believed in them and invested $50,000 over 2 years to help shape their sound. A rare move for a group that hadn't yet charted big. By 1967, people were comparing Donny to Michael Jackson. Donny was 9, Michael was 8. Donny wore rhinestone jumpsuits and spun across stages like a mini Elvis. He became so good that professional choreographers took note. But just when they thought Disney would give them their own family show, they were rejected for being too clean. That letter stung for years. Their Mormon values and wholesome image, once seen as boring, would later become their biggest asset during their 1970s peak. In 1968, the Osmonds got their shot in Las Vegas as Jerry Lewis's opening act. But the crowd didn't care for a squeaky clean family band. The audience was rough, loud, drunk, not what 10-year-old Donny was used to. He was heckled and even had ice cubes thrown at him. George responded by making rehearsals even more intense. 12 hours a day, only stopping for bathroom breaks. Donny's feet would bleed from dancing. It nearly broke his spirit, but it hardened his work ethic. In early 1969, they recorded in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, home to legendary soul records. Producer Rick Hall tried to push them into R&B, thinking their image needed an edge. Donny, just 11, amazed the session players, but when lyrics hinted at rebellion, George Osmond shut the session down and walked out. That $15,000 recording was never released. It delayed their success, but the family stood by their religious principles. Then came the breakthrough. One Bad Apple was released in late 1970, and by February 1971, it was #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It stayed there for 5 weeks. Many people mistook the Osmonds for the Jackson 5. In fact, Michael Jackson once told Donny that they nearly recorded the song first. That single went gold and set off full-blown Osmond mania. In 1973, 10,000 fans packed the Heathrow Airport rooftop just to see them, and a balcony collapsed, injuring 18 girls. Airports started banning their chartered flights because of the damage caused by stampeding fans. But all that fame came at a cost. From 1971 to 1972, the group performed nearly 200 shows a year. Donny collapsed from exhaustion at age 14. Their father called it character building. Even when Donny had surgery for his appendix, he spent recovery reading thousands of fan letters. They were also recording a cartoon series during this time, providing their own voices while still keeping up with concerts and television appearances. That pace led to Donny's struggles with anxiety and a nervous breakdown later in life. In 1972, their cartoon show aired on ABC with 17 episodes. Unlike the Jackson 5's cartoon, the Osmonds voiced their own characters. They included a talking dog and world tours in every episode. Despite the show's popularity and record sales topping 100 million worldwide, financial mismanagement nearly ruined them. They lost about $80 million due to poor investments and bad advice. George Osmond eventually filed for bankruptcy. The massive studio they built in Orem, Utah for the Donny and Marie show only added to the money troubles. While their fame continued, the danger increased. Fans regularly broke through security. In Manchester, one fan hugged Donny so hard that the pen in her hand nearly took out his eye. Another time, a flashbulb camera burned his retina. In a hotel parking garage, a security guard threw Donny into a mob of fans twice, not recognizing him because of his long hair.